Welcome back to RASSVET for episode 2 with me, MrSealyp. Well, a few developments. It is just gone 5 past 5 in the evening. I spoke to my lovely wife earlier on, as we saw on the previous video, 2 hour time difference, so we're looking alright. Thank you to all the support, the outpouring of help and advice. I do have now an advisory service in place. Ukraine advisory, which is absolutely fantastic for lots of information flooding in, including the precision farming situation. A lot of the advice that was coming in has been regarding the process that you go through when we're doing precision farming. And a lot of it is fine if you're doing the entire process. So from what I can gather so far, it's a case of getting lime down if you need lime down. First fertilising state should be manure, something organic, manure or slurry. Then cultivation needs to happen, then seeding, and then the first load of other fertiliser, whether it be chemical of some description, sprayed, spread, or whatever it might be, which is fine if you're doing it all the way through. If you're on a field like we've got now, we've done soil sampling for a few farmers locally, and we've got a situation now where they've already got crops in their ground. We can't lime on top of crops that are already growing. We can't really put manure or slurry down. What we can do is we can put some fertiliser down, whether it be liquid or solid. I mean, you still probably shouldn't. It'd be more herbicide type things now, fungicides, herbicides, those kind of things. But we're going to put some down, which is absolutely fantastic. The problem we have got is machinery. We don't have anything. I've spoken to my contact at the embassy. Dave, in accounts at the British Embassy, has been extremely helpful. When I said about being reimbursed for soil sampling, I have been informed by the embassy that I can be reimbursed, absolutely. I have to fill out some forms in triplicate, as is often the case, and it can take up to 3 months to be processed before I get any money back. That's nice to know. Like I said, they could have told me that in advance. What we're going to do, I'll carry on explaining what we're going to do as we move forward. I'm going to use the gator for the time being. I did grab this. It's a fairly cheap. I think it was only about 350 to lease. Not a bad width boom on it. It's a little bit big. The only problem is with the 3-point link on this. There are a few different backs for this. With the attachers right down below the 3-point link, it didn't like it. It started bouncing around all over the place. Now, I could probably just put another back on that. But what I am going to do, again, this is a bit of a test plot situation. Again, just to show the farmers around the area, this is what we're looking at. So we've got a back for the gator, which will allow some spray. We are going to need to buy some spray, which has also just suddenly dawned on me. We are going to eat through our finances. That's 2,000 litres for 3,200. I must have a cheap alternative somewhere. That's not too bad. Let's get one of those. Now, the tank on this only holds about 400 litres. Now, like I say, what I could do maybe is switch the back. Just have a ball hitch. Maybe go from there. Take that off. So yeah, we are in the market for some new machinery. Now, as I mentioned, we have got the black market and the grey market. Grey market's not made up. I think a lot of people thought I made that up, but it's real. There is such a thing as what they call the grey market. And it is kind of frowned upon. Not quite illegal. It's kind of a back channel avoiding paperwork type situation. But it's not made up. It's a real thing. We're going to head down to one of the fields and let's give this a go. So while we're heading down, I have got my field info on now. A lot of people said, just go down to the field, stick your field info on. It will give you an idea of levels. I've had people sending me all different pictures and screenshots and information regarding soil types and crop types and requirements for nitrogen, pH levels, for lime, that kind of thing. Thank you. All very, very much appreciated. It's all being kind of compiled and assimilated as we go. So with regard to equipment and machinery, I have been told that my job, my task, what I've been employed by the embassy to do through the Environment Agency was soil sampling and, again, like I say, a kind of not even an education program really, just a encouragement, I guess is the best way of putting it, encouraging the local farmers, easing them back into how they can be more productive, you know, and the fact that the ground is okay to use, and you know, we can make the most of what's happening. Now, Ukraine is bordered by Russia to the east and northeast. Now, current tensions aren't great. Relationships between Russia and Ukraine aren't fantastic. Equipment that's Russian is not easily accessible and frowned upon by the local population. There's Belarus is to the north, Poland, Slovakia and Hungary are to the west, Romania, Moldova, Crimea, which has now been annexed. The Russians annexed it, they took it, and the Black Sea are to the south. So as you can imagine, there's a real melting pot of equipment and machinery that comes from all various different countries. There's Czechoslovakian machinery available, German machinery available, and obviously being 2021, you know, there is machinery available from lots of the what you would consider the main manufacturers. I've passed the turning, haven't I? Just realised field 4. Let's go back that way. So equipment and machinery is available. Now the thing about it also being, this is a former, I say former, again, a former communist country. The thing about communism and a communist country, especially with large populations, there's no shortage of workers. And under a communist system, those workers are readily available. They're not paid huge amounts of money. So the need for large equipment, and as we would do probably more in the West, I guess, increasing productivity, bigger machinery that operates faster, gets over the ground quicker, increasing your margins, less workforce, less people to pay. In this situation, that's not the case. So you find in a lot of communist countries, machinery and equipment is starting to get bigger nowadays, but back then it didn't matter. Because if it was done by hand, it didn't matter. If you had 10 small tractors that cost very little to make, with 10 employees that weren't being paid a huge amount of money, if they were being paid at all, a lot of times it would be in food or accommodation or, you know, whatever it might be. So the likelihood of coming across large equipment or being able to buy large equipment is going to be tricky. So field info is on bottom right. If we look on this one, pH value is not great. It could do with lime, but we can't really lime over the top of what's here already. The lime can cause all sorts of damage to plants. Nitrogen is bad. 20 kilograms per hectare, and it requires up to, well, some areas are saying 200, 120. Yeah. So what we're going to do now is put some on. That at least is the theory. And as you can see, bottom left, this process is live. The GPS system is a live screen system, so we can see down the bottom already what difference our nitrogen going on is having. Is it going to make it perfect? No, it's going to increase yield at the moment. Now, I have been also informed that you only need to put down... Oh no, that's what I've just realised. Hang on. Did I? Hang on. Application rate. Yeah, it is an auto. So say application rate, you want it on auto because it should be adjusting the nitrogen level to, well, should be roughly where it needs to, and that's with relation to the soil type and the crop. It may not all be completely in the green on the screen down the bottom, but it should be what it needs, you know, for the ground type and everything else, at least as I understand it. So what we're going to do, I'm hoping I'm not way off on that. We're actually not getting through this liquid fertiliser as quickly as I thought we were going to, which is pretty good. I'll do a strip across, we'll do a strip back, we'll have another look at this the chart, and we'll see how we stand. So, as I was saying, with regard to equipment, at the moment, like the leasing cost for this was about 100 and something for this attachment on the back of the gator. But it's small, it's going to take ages to get any work done. I need something with a bigger boom, that kind of thing. So we are going to need to be, if we're going to be demonstrating I was really hoping we were going to get more input, we were going to get more assistance from both embassies, really. It's almost that kind of thing of, you know, we've sent you out there, here's the job we want you to do, this is the equipment we're giving you, you're on your own kind of thing, which I wasn't expecting. I was expecting it to be far more. I think let's come over a little bit, don't I? Maybe a bit more. Let's try that. That's better. Yeah, I honestly thought it'd be far more assistance, but then I guess it's that naivety of, you know, I'm going to get help, I'm going to get assistance, the government's going to help, both governments are going to help. I know it sounds awful to say, but I kind of almost get the feeling it's like they're ticking a box, you know. So we need to do soil sampling. We need to be showing that we're helping. We need to be showing, and you know, for the PR side of things, for showing the world, look, this is what we're doing. We're helping out. They've got that tick in the box. You know, we've got a man on the ground. We've got guys out there, and they're helping local farmers. But I'm not getting any help. So we may well have to turn to that grey area, possibly even the black market, for getting equipment and machinery. Luckily, my liaison knows a guy, don't they always? Knows a guy who knows a guy, and we're going to be introduced into something. Now, I've mentioned it before. I think I mentioned it. I can't remember when it was, what farm I was running when I mentioned this before. When I mentioned Farm Club, and I made that joke of, you know, the first rule of Farm Club, you do not talk about Farm Club. That might have been on the West Coast, you know, I'm trying to think. I think it was along those lines. It was all the guys that were meeting in the local public house. Well, it really is that. It's an underground network, and I've mentioned it, of buying and selling machinery, equipment. How it's obtained and where it's obtained from, I don't want to ask too many questions. So what we're going to be doing is, hopefully in a little while, we're going to be heading off to an auction's the wrong way of looking at it. I don't know how you become a club member, whether you get a club card, whether you get like discounts, bonus points, I don't know how it works. So we're going to be heading off to Farm Club, and yeah, it's all very cloak and dagger and quite exciting at the same time. I do like that live mapping at the bottom. That really is making life a lot easier. So what we'll do is we'll get to the end of this strip, we'll take a drive across. Actually, we might do the next strip up and we'll check a couple of things. So with our screen on, right, field info, how we're looking now. Nitrogen good. There you go, nitrogen perfect in some places. We've got nitrogen good, nitrogen perfect, 100 of 100 kilograms per hectare, 80 of 100, so some of the areas not quite as good. The pH, unfortunately, at the moment is going to be an issue. But that's something, again, in that part of that learning process, when we're kind of talking to the farmers about this, at least we know now moving forward what we can do is when we speak to them, is when this gets harvested and they're prepping for the next planting, we need to get lime down. We need to get that pH level up. Now, every time we plant something and it grows, these levels are going to change. They're going to fluctuate because the crops are going to add something in. When the crops get harvested, stuff gets left behind. I'm pretty sure liming, you don't have to do all the time. But I was sent a message to say that, because I wasn't sure about soil sampling. I did ask the question about soil sampling and have been informed that soil sampling needs to be done every 6 harvests, I think. That's something we can have a look at. Every 6 harvests, soil sampling will need to be done. Now, it does say 6 harvests or 2 limings, but then I guess if you only need to lime once every 2 or 3 crops possibly, that would probably equate to the same thing. So let's get up to a section now where it's a little bit greener according to that. But again, this is down to the soil type that's underlying. So it may look wrong. You know, again, mentally, you're looking for, you know, it's always that kind of red is bad, green is good. So everything needs to be in the green. But it doesn't. It just depends on the soil type. Nitrogen good, nitrogen perfect. Yeah. So although it's a different colour, let's have a look. on our screen here. Let's go across to that. So as you can see, we're going from our silty clay into loam. So that's the difference in those colours. If we go across one, that's our pH, which we can't affect at the moment, but this is where we're looking at. So it's that line as it goes across, that goes between that silt and then the loam, is where we're getting those two changes. But the requirement is, on this part, it doesn't require 200 kilograms per hectare. To get perfect, it only requires what it's saying, and that's down to the crop that's in the ground as well. So that's working out absolutely perfectly. That's what we need to be showing. And again, this data, this information is what we're showing the farmers. We're saying to them, look, you know, this is what you need to know. This is going to help. And it should just be one pass. Now, again, what will happen is the money that we've put into leasing these fields or paying the farmers for access to their fields, that goes back into the main account and will be used for leasing another one, doing soil sampling on the next one and the next one, and moving ourselves around. That is not my money. That's government money. As you can tell already, the purse strings are pulled tight and I'm not going to get anywhere, I don't think. So I'll finish this strip. What I might do is whiz down to field 6 and we'll have a look and see if we get some, because that one had a completely different soil mapping actually as we're going across. Can I hire a worker? Let's hire a worker for a second. Workers are supposed to be more efficient, especially if you've got one of the is it arcade towers? I think there's one on the map as far as I'm aware. I think it's over at the main farm. So we scroll across to field 6 and then we go back to that. So we've got 3 different soil types there, going from loam to sandy loam onto loamy sand. There's no silty clay on this one at all, so we should see some different colours on that one. If I do a kind of diagonal test strip across, we should be okay. We've still got 267 litres. It is going way further, but it's just going to take too long. We need to get a piece of equipment with something bigger. We probably need to get a tractor of some description, maybe not necessarily with row crop tyres on, but one that we can put row crop tyres on would be handy. And that's what I'm kind of hoping, in a way, if we get to go to this gathering, we should be able to get a look at it. We should be able to see if there's anything available, or at least talk to the right people. If they haven't got something there, it's that kind of, do you know of? Do you know where I could get hold of? There's always going to be that shady person who says, don't worry, I'll get it for you. It does always worry me though, where's it going to come from, you know? Is some farmer going to wake up tomorrow somewhere else in the country and his tractor's missing, or I hope that's not the case. Also, a knock-on effect should be, we should get cheaper machinery, maybe. I don't know how it's, you know, again, you've got that black market system. Often it's supply and demand, isn't it? The more something is in demand, the more expensive it becomes, so you end up paying more for something you really shouldn't do. Or we could be in that situation where if it's off the back of a lorry, so to speak, we may get stuff cheaper. I don't know. So what we're going to do here then is we'll do a diagonal right across the field and we'll see, turn that on, there we go, we zoom in, we should see bottom left. If I go along those rows at a diagonal, we shouldn't cause any damage. We should see those colours change as the different soil types change diagonally across this field. In theory. Well, it's not a theory, what's what in theory? That's what should be happening, so we should see it. Now my information resource has led me to believe that the area we are farming, the farming community around here, is a Sovkhoz and Kolkhoz. Sovkhoz was owned and ruled by the state, and a Kolkhoz, apologies if I'm horrible pronunciation, is a cooperative, formally independent but ruled by the state as well. So kind of independent but state run, and then ones that were owned and ruled completely. And it is believed that this area was, that doesn't look so great, I'll just double check that, was a Sovkhoz. Like I say, I'm just going by what I'm being told. I've got like I say, it got me into the ground. A lot of very handy and helpful people giving me all sorts of fantastic information. So whilst that doesn't look particularly great, we do have a different crop in the ground. So again, let's hop out. Let's check our map. So that's what we're transitioning through. pH levels we can't change. And that's what we're looking at, levels. Yeah, that does not look great, does it? But what crop we got in the ground? So this one's sunflower. Completely different crop, requires different things. Let's go back across, no, to that. Let's hop out and have a look. See, pH value good, nitrogen good. Nitrogen okay, it's not fantastic. It's our vehicle, I think we've gone too far over. Yeah, good. Perfect. So yeah, the requirement here for this particular crop and this soil type is only 60 kilograms per hectare. So our nitrogen that we put down, whilst the map doesn't look great, and again your mind's saying, shouldn't that be green? But it is fine. Checking the field info is absolutely perfect. No problems whatsoever. So I'll carry on doing this strip. I'm going to head back and just await the call. We'll see what happens. Oh yeah, while I'm doing this and we're heading back, I would just like to say, and I mentioned it on my Eureka Farmers video the other day, that my transition, and thank you to all the comments, all the people that, you know, that it took a little while to do, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was something a bit different. But what I want to point out, and I want to say out loud, that was not originally my idea. And I want to say, you know, I'm not going to take credit for something that someone else came up with. Eustace Farmer, who I adore, the man is fantastic. And when I first came across his channel has changed quite a bit. He doesn't post as often as he used to. But when Eustace Farmer was posting videos, they were like mini movies. I mean, honestly, it inspired me so much. It was around the same time that Barris, if people know of Barris or have heard me mention Barris, Barris was the first person that got me doing subscriber contracts. He was the guy that messaged me first and said, look, I've got a contract I can't fulfill. Would you be able to help me out with it? And the whole kind of idea of a subscriber contract was born, and that came from Barris. Around the same time I started watching Eustace Farmer's channel, and his mini movies and his editing and the way he was doing things, I was so just blown away. I got the honour and privilege to have been added into one of his videos, and I did a video with him. I was helping him. What we're looking at now. Such a lovely guy. But the transition thing of using a different game to show flight or whatever it is you're trying to do was him. I saw it on one of his videos first. That was where the inspiration came from. You know, I would love to just smile politely and go a little bit red in the face at people saying what a great job I did. And I, you know, don't get me wrong, I still put the time in and the effort in and to do the transition or whatever. But the idea, the concept was his. And I cannot thank him enough for the inspiration to do things like that. So I just thought I'd mention it, you know. Now I don't think, I'm trying to think which channel is now. I'll put it in the description or it'll come up on the screen, his channel. Like I say, he doesn't post as much now. I know he has a lot of things personally in his family and his life is very busy, so he doesn't post as much as he used to. And he plays all different sorts of games as well, but yeah, such a lovely man. A very good friend to the channel and to me, obviously. So I'm gonna head back, get a bite to eat. What time's it now? 5:30. Now I'm not doing those entire fields because they're not my fields. The whole point of this is to show what can be done. We do now own, well no, I've leased this back. I'm curious actually because it's got a different back, but it does have the ball joint. Whether or not with this one, because there are several different backs, whether I can hook up to this a little bit better. No, it's still, I think it's just, it's not in the way. I think it's just because the height of the connection takes the back wheels off the floor Yeah, it doesn't like it. So that one's going to have to go back. That's a pity. I was hoping that one was going to work. I'm going to leave this over here. We may well end up using it ourselves for a little while, but I don't own any land, I don't own any fields yet. That is where we're going to be heading to, if all goes well, because I do have an idea of something I want to do. I'm currently in talks with the Environment Agency and them through the embassy, and then the embassy through the Ukraine embassy, to put together a foreign aid package. I'm here doing this, and it's technically the same thing. It's kind of an aid package. It's boots on the ground and helping. What I'm trying to get organised is for me to become the aid package. I will come here longer term, and with support from the governments, do a kind of show farm. I know that sounds really kind of arrogant, doesn't it? But you know what I mean. You know, and in that way as well, kind of hopefully inspire some of the guys locally to either get into farming or get back into farming, to just say, look, I'm here, this is what I'm doing, use this information if you want, this is how you can do it, you don't have to, but try and, you know, inspire if possible. But at the moment, that's just talks. I don't know what's going to happen with that. Fingers crossed. Right, that needs to go back. I'll see you in a little while. So, call came in. I'm heading off to a location I've been given. I'll be meeting my liaison there, and introductions will be made. Apparently. It's a little bit nerve-wracking. I do like this lorry. I'm just trying to think, moving forward. I'm kind of compiling a list in my head of equipment that's going to be needed. And there is going to be equipment needed, a lot. Just trying to think of what. We're going to need a tractor, we're going to need a trailer, harvester probably. And definitely for what we're doing at the moment, soil sampling, we can use the gator, that's not a problem. We could do it with a tractor, then we wouldn't need the gator anymore. Trying to think what else. Yeah, there's a list. There's going to be a whole list of stuff, isn't there? We're going to have to try to acquire. We definitely need a sprayer or a spreader. We're probably going to need a muck spreader, something we can do lime with. That's just for the soil sampling side of things and getting crops up and running. That's got nothing to do with even, you know, if the aid package idea goes through, if I get to be allowed to set up a test farm or anything like that. That's a whole another can of worms of all sorts of stuff. Right, directly opposite. Okay, doesn't look like they want anyone going in. Let's park here, I guess. Nerve-wracking stuff. Oh, there's a bit of equipment straight away. KTP 9.4. That's a cultivator, isn't it? Not a plough. Mind you, though, 9.4 meters. That's not too bad. Well, they really don't want people getting in here. Is it they want people getting in, or they don't want people taking stuff out? Probably they don't want people taking stuff out. That also explains the crane, doesn't it? I would assume that if people buy equipment, they move the blocks out of the way, do they? Okay. In here, apparently. Remember, the first rule of Farm Club: do not talk about Farm Club. I know I'm talking about it a lot, but that's just to tell you not to talk about it. I'll just get on to Dave. Dave at accounts at the embassy. Oh, let's go and light him. Wow, this is amazing. This is cool, actually. Wow, we've got trailers. What are all of these? That's a ZJVF 3.2 water or liquids tanker. MMZ 771 bale trailer. BDP 6.3 plough. What's that? PRT 16. Is it 16? There's a number. Oh yeah, 16 ton. There you go. Muck spreader. Oh, did it say a muck spreader? GVS 6U. What's a 6Y on it? Windrower. Oh, that's nice. 12 ton one. Separate sections. So that's 768B. So we need to find out then. What if the potatoes are for sale? Who do we speak to about purchasing? And who do we speak to about finding out about larger stuff or specific stuff? If there's something we need that they haven't got. I wonder if they have a catalogue. A catalogue you can browse. Like I said, maybe get Farm Club points, maybe. Like a store card, maybe. Why is that not working? There we go. Oh, it's where the good stuff is. Oh, it's all good stuff. So supplies as well. Fuel. Solid fertilizer. Liquid fertilizer. Oh, I've just bought some liquid fertilizer. Seed. More fertilizer. They like their Urals. Ah, see, flatbed. That's what I was on about. For transporting pallets and various different things. That could be an absolute godsend, couldn't it? Ex-military by the look of it. Sprayer. Krakowiak. Krakowiak? Never quite sure. I think Krakowiak, isn't it? That's nice. What's that, 15 metre? Not sure. Got to be something like that, isn't it? Oh. Well, that's a bit more modern than I was expecting to see here. Probably quite pricey. A little bit larger I was expecting to see. And a Tatra. Tatra Phoenix. Very nice. Well. I can understand, I suppose, if this is all a little bit, you know, off the books, having it underground in something like this, if, I'm not saying it's happening, you know, the whole thing with drones these days, especially like you can get really small ones, not the big things you see on things like Call of Duty and whatever, Reapers and Raptors and Global Hawks, and there's so many different, you know, just the small ones, camera fitted. A lot of companies are using them now, full drone mapping of areas and that kind of thing, but this keeps everything off the radar. That also explains why that's parked under the cover. Is anything flying over, it's just going to see a cultivator sitting out, which is nothing unusual, I suppose, around the countryside, but you won't see anything else. So what we need to do now then is, well, I suppose we need a tractor. We need to sort out a tractor, don't we? I need to go away and mull this over. Actually, you know what I'm going to do as well? What do you think? My advisory service has already. I've got a list of stuff, a list of equipment from you name it. I've got tractors and cultivators and harvesters and lorries and special machinery from you name it. Romania, Germany. Agramash is Russian, and Rosselmash is also Russian. Like I say, frowned upon locally, but if it's available, if we can get hold of it, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not quite sure if we would be able to. Fort Schritt's not unheard of, the old Fort Schritt equipment locally. But what do you reckon? What sort of equipment do we need that's going to be available? There's a fair bit of Czechoslovakian stuff, Romanian stuff. Trying to think. Oh, Slovenian. We got a lot of the is it SIP? SIP stuff Slovenian, isn't it? I mean, that's more windrowing, grasswork stuff. But potentially, that gives us something to aim for. Okay, well, it's all food for thought, and we do have the ability to engage the services of Farm Club. Well, what I need to do now is, I think, probably, I don't know if it's too late, I need to get, you know what we'll do is, we'll do that now. Let's go to the fields. Those two have both been, like I say, I haven't done the whole fields. The fields don't belong to me. What we'll do is, no, switch off of that to that. Let's sell that land back. We'll sell that land back. And then we'll get, let's get something a bit closer to home that might be a little bit easier. How much is that going to be though? That's pricey. About field 10. Okay, let's get that. And how much is field 8? Nope. Field 7. Okay, so what we'll do then is soil samples have been done on those two. What we'll do is now, actually, there's something I'm curious about. So obviously now we've got the field info. That tells us on there as well. So although we can do the soil sampling and we'll get the actual proper layout of the field, that does say there with the field info on this screen here, when we come to buy them, it does tell you already what the split is across the field. We don't know what it actually looks like on the ground, but expected yield potential 102%, so a little bit above what that's actually going to look like. We need to do soil sampling to determine, but field 10 that we've just set something at 97%, which needs an increase. I would imagine that's going to come down to, again, it's going to come down to nitrogen. And then field 7, wow, okay, that's up 109%. That's not so bad. So that's going to be next. I'll try and get some more sampling done, I think, before it gets dark. So what I'll do, I'll head back up to the store. I'm going to grab the gator, grab the soil sampler. I'm going to go and get some more soil samples done before the morning. Actually, I'll probably just do it driving across. Can I go this way? Let's go this way. I'm at that point as well on this map, especially using these vehicles that have got the sort of just the nice movable suspension. I'm just enjoying driving around, just watching the vehicles interact with the terrain. I know it's crazy. It's probably why I like playing SnowRunner so much as well. I do like that. I hope I'm going the right way. Now I'm going to let you into a little secret. As I was leaving Farm Club, somebody slipped a piece of paper in my pocket. We'll talk about that on the next episode. Now I know we haven't got very much done in this one, but we are moving forward, narratively speaking. We did have a little bit more of a look at the precision farming situation with regard to the samples taken, what does it mean, adding the nitrogen in, and how that has changed. And also, again, it's getting away from that in your head. It's almost, I mentioned this when I did the original videos when this first came out, is you've got to change your way of thinking. You have to say to yourself, this isn't how it was. You have to completely change your mindset, because it is, you know, you are looking for that. You want that perfect field state. It should be, oh, I've gone the wrong way. It should be green. It should be, you know, but that's not the case. Every crop type, every soil type requires something different, and it doesn't matter if the colours don't look like you expect them to. But using the field info tab once you get out into the field, again, thank you to everyone that had suggested that. Makes a huge difference to what you're doing. I mean, everybody out there is part of the embassy, well, not the embassy's department, my department, MrSealyp's Department for Agriculture. You are my advisory team. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have, give us a like. If you don't subscribe yet, please do. If you want to leave a comment, feel free. And if you want to share this video, then please be my guest. Whatever you should choose to do. Thanks for watching.